Hi, good day everyone. Okay, so let's go through the offer to purchase agreement. So this is our own agreement from Parkland Real Estate, powered by Real Estate Services. So as I said, you have to understand your offer to purchase agreement in order to explain this to your clients. So let's start with page 1. Offer to purchase agreement. The top note just says important notice to the conveyancing attorney so that they can have the contact details readily available where they should send correspondence to. So then paragraph 1, the purchasers. So purchasers obviously number 1 and 2, they can fill in their full names, surname and ID number, or if it's a company registration number, they can fill in the company registration number on this paragraph 1 as well. If we move down a little bit, if the purchaser is a company, a closed corporation or a trust, herein represented by the undersigned, duly authorized thereto being. So if this property is going to be purchased by a specific company or a closed corporation or through a trust, then the person who has signing rights, who has authority to sign on behalf of the company, or the closed corporation or the trust, because remember, sometimes within a company there could be a couple of directors, 4 or 5 or 10 directors, or a trust, there's a whole lot of trustees or beneficiaries involved in a trust as well. So you can't send this document off to 20 people to sign. So therefore usually a resolution is signed. A resolution is then given to a specific person to sign all documents in terms of that specific company on behalf of such company or closed corporation or a trust. So that person who has authorization to sign it can then sign this document on everyone's behalf. Then it's only one person signing the document. So within this specific space, that specific authorized person can then sign. The same with sellers on paragraph 2. The sellers can then sign the document, full names, surname, ID number or registration number. And again, exactly the same with if this specific property is being sold by a company, a closed corporation or a trust, then that specific person who has authorization to sign on behalf of the company or trust can then sign this document. Full name and surname in that specific space, and then sign next to it in full, and then initial on each and every page. So always remember with your offer to purchase agreement, they must be, the agreement must be signed or initialed at least at the bottom of each and every page. And where there is a space where the purchaser or seller needs to sign in full, they must sign in full. If there's any specific paragraph that has been deleted, scratched through, or been deleted, then all the parties must initial next to that specific clause that was deleted. If we go down to page number 2, information again for the conveyancing attorneys, all the purchasers detail here, purchaser 1, purchaser 2. If you have 3 or 4 people buying this in their natural names, then obviously you can maybe make a copy of this page and just write purchaser 3 and purchaser 4. So all their detail must be completed on this page 2. Again, at the bottom of page 2, to be completed if the purchaser is a juristic person, meaning either a company, a closed corporation or a trust, and the detail of such juristic person's detail must be completed on this page. And then again signed by the authorized person. Then if you go a bit lower down, purchaser, signature 1 and 2, they must sign in full in that specific block where it's indicated purchaser number 1 and purchaser number 2. Again, initial at the bottom of the page. Then if we go further down to page 3, seller, it's exactly the same. Seller 3, all the information must be provided of seller 1 and 2 on page 3, and then again sign in full in the blocks provided. Then we go down to page 4. So page 4, paragraph 3 refers to the specific property that is going to be sold. Every single detail of that property must be completed on this document as you found it maybe on Lightstone or CMA Info. the ERF number, the portion number, the complex name if it's in a complex, the door number in that specific complex, the section number, the sectional scheme number, street address, the full street address, your suburb, your city, your province, and your postal code. You cannot just write that this specific property is in street ABC number 1. You have to be specific with regards to the property, or you cannot just write a street address because you are not selling every house in that specific street. You are selling a specific property. So always make sure that everything that you receive on the Lightstone or CMA info report is completed within paragraph 3 on the blocks provided. Then if you go further down to paragraph 3.1 and 3.2, here we just talk about the fact that a purchaser did see the house, they did make themselves or acquainted themselves with the nature and the condition of the specific property. They know that this property is going to be sold, foot stewards, as they see it, so they buy it. And then if we go further down to 3.2, the parties agree that the purchaser will have no claim whatsoever against the seller for any deficiency in the size of the property which may be revealed on any resurvey, nor shall the seller benefit from any possible excess. So this just means that if you do pull that Lightstone report or your CMA report, and it says that the earth size is maybe 1,000 square meters, but now you see that it's actually 980 square meters, you know, it's more or less what we find on the property reports, and that's what we put on the contract, the offer to purchase agreement. Okay. So then if we go down further to paragraph 4, the purchase price. So there you specify what the exact purchase price is, and you write it out in words as well. So for instance, if this property is valued or being sold at 1 million rand, you physically write there 1 million rand, and is payable as follows. So there you can say it is payable as follows with regards to, say, 100,000 rand deposit, and will be deposited with the conveyancing attorney within, say, 14 working days, or if the money is in a specific investment and they need 30 days or 60 days or 90 days to release the money, then you write there, it will be deposited with the conveyancer within a certain amount of days. Always ask your buyer, is the money readily available, or is the money in a fixed deposit where you have to give about 30 days notice or 60-day notice, or how long ever the period is. Always make sure that you talk to your buyers, because if you write in there the money will be paid over within 48 hours and they can only release it within a month or 2 or 3 months, then the time span would now have expired and now your contract is not valid anymore, and you need to redraft or re-sign the contract. So always make sure and ask your buyers, how are you buying? Is it going to be through bond finance, or is it going to be through a cash purchase? What is your situation? Do you have the money available for a deposit? Especially if it's maybe second time property buyers or third time or whatever the case is. And it's also always not a guarantee that a first-time buyer will obtain a full bond, which would include the transfer fees and the bond fees and so on. So you must always ask your buyers, do they have the transfer fees and bond fees readily available to pay over to the transferring attorneys or to pay over to the bond attorneys, especially if they haven't had a pre-approval yet. Make sure how your buyers are going to buy.